Welcome back to Any Given Monday. Mark, I'm officially in. The Bob Herrig one was in. There's still some work to do, but I'm in Monday QHQ for those looking on YouTube. The bib from I didn't do anything besides carry the bag. Ryan Yip in 2009 on the Canadian Tour. Jane Rogers. There's a Barracuda flag. Mark Baldwin over there. Allegedly stolen, but not. It was stolen. Mark, how are you?
Good to see you, Ryan French. I'm great. Your background is putting your beautiful background with the authentic caddy bibs is putting my 1991 cabinet design background to shame.
Yeah, it really is. Robert Garrigus got hammered for his kitchen. Mark is going to get hammered for his in-laws' kitchen, but a new one coming. We are working on a few things. There might be a slight echo. I don't know how it is in the microphone, but sound tiles are going up. So we're inching closer to being fully operational.
On Wednesday's pod with Bob Herrig, you sounded like you were in a cave. So we're going to have to work on that sound a little bit, but it was only really noticeable because Bob's audio was much clearer.
Yeah.
So when we listen back, if my audio is crystal clear, you'll still be in the cave, but we'll make the necessary adjustments very soon.
Yeah, the tiles are currently going up. So didn't get them up in time for today's pod. Mark, it's Q&A. It's my favorite. I'm going to start with a question that wasn't even on there. It will lead into a discussion about all things LIV Promotions event. If you were offered a spot tomorrow to play in LIV Promotions Q School, for those listening that don't know, and you knew it came with a 1-year ban, meaning you can't go to Q School, Korn Ferry Q School next year, would you take it?
So we're recording this on Thursday for Friday. Friday, I'll have an article about this out. And I think that this announcement of LIV Q School happening in the PGA Tour's backyard in Central Florida seemed like a great step when it was first announced, and it's going to turn out to be a self-own on LIV's part.
Yeah.
A misstep. And I don't know if it was intentional, getting back to your conversation with Bob Herrig.
Mm-hmm.
Did they know the PGA Tour was going to take this hardline stance? They had to have known.
Yeah.
Were they trying to poke the bear? Or was this just thrown together and they did what they could in the time and with the resources that they had? That's a big question. And it has major implications because while the LIV has announced that they're moving from 54 holes to 72 holes, who plays on LIV next year and the turnover that happens matters so much more to whether they will be able to obtain OWGR points.
Yes. This is something I didn't think about, Mark, that a Korn Ferry member said to me, and we haven't even discussed this. He said, in hindsight, so the North America thing is the biggest issue. His point, and he was going to play in it, or he was considering it, was in hindsight, maybe they should have had it in the Bahamas, or like the Bahamas has a Korn Ferry event. That course is like tournament ready, whatever. It happens to be a Norman course, in fact. So like in hindsight, maybe they should have done that. Then guys in Florida going to hop quickly over there could have done the same thing as last year, paid for their flights. This year, the entry fee is $25. There is no payout, but if you get to the second stage, then it is. So yes, to your point, it seems to me, like they were poking the bear. And then the biggest part I disagree with is non-members getting banned too. I said it on the pod with Bob, I'll say it here, is I get banning PGA Tour members. I can even get behind banning Korn Ferry members. America's Tour and non-members, to ban them for a year is nuts. And it's essentially a 2-year suspension because you can't go to Q School at the end of 2025 for 2026. Now, you can get Mondays back, but odds are pretty long that you Monday and then get membership through that. So my biggest struggle with that part of it is these are the very players that the PGA Tour is cutting out of their tour. And they're doing this only to be petty. Many tour players, Mark, you can speak to this better. It's like, you just want a place to play. Like, this isn't an Asian Tour, DP World Tour, Korn Ferry Tour, PGA Tour, like LIV Tour. You just want a place to play, right? I mean, that's why you would go to this event is, I want a place to play.
Yeah. Yes. The but here is that it makes it, when you say it like that, it makes it sound like you're laying the blame on the PGA Tour's doorstep for this particular event. And I think that's where I would maybe disagree a little bit. I think this is a LIV misstep, not a PGA Tour misstep. This is a $1.5 million purse with $200,000 to the winner. And I'm all for more opportunities. But LIV specifically in their criteria has excluded America's Tour players. They've excluded Korn Ferry conditional members. Its top 30 on Korn Ferry are going to meet the criteria. Now, the pushback to that is, well, once the PGA Tour comes in and says, we're not granting media releases, all of a sudden they've limited who's going to show up. And now will they start accepting America's Tour applications? But I don't think this is a PGA Tour. This is unreasonable by the PGA Tour.
I don't think it's unreasonable by the PGA Tour. I think it's unreasonable for the non-members. Maybe even America's I could discuss, but I think it's unreasonable by the PGA Tour in that respect. I get the PGA Tour members and the Korn Ferry members. No argument there that there is no real way to not ban them. And from a legal standpoint, I don't know enough legally to know what people like yourself who haven't signed anything or aren't on a contract, if you had any legal way to say you can't ban me. But the PGA Tour Korn Ferry members, you signed something at the beginning of the year. It definitely says in there that you can't play and you agreed to it. So I get that part of it. The irony of all this is that the promotions event in the United States, I think, is basically going to only have Asian Tour players. Everyone is going to travel from Asia to the United States.
And so this is another unexplored territory that it's for some countries, for some Asian Tour players from certain countries, it may not be that easy just to come here and play and receive the visa, whatever kind of visa you need. Yeah. So they may be even further limited there.
And they're limiting cost perspective. Like, there's people on the Asian Tour just don't have the $4,000, whatever it costs to get to the US. And Japan Tour players have played in Riyadh. In fact, have had players qualify from the Japan Tour. Again, ironically, by moving it closer, they have limited it more.
Yeah, that's really well put. And getting back to what you were saying about non-members being banned, look, the target, if you look at the criteria for who the promotions event is trying to get into the field, are top-ranked AMs. They want players who played in the Walker Cup and the Palmer Cup. They want winners and runners-up of all world amateur championships. Most of these players have a pathway to the PGA Tour through PGA Tour U, or they play college golf here.
Or they want to play there, and they don't want to give up a spot for 2 spots to risk Q School of the following year.
And so this is vital, getting back to the original question. Is who are they going to get and who's going to get through? Because that matters more than any change I think that LIV has offered so far in the season. Are they going to get more Tom McKibbins?
Yes. Because
Tom McKibben has just shown that you don't need the PGA Tour to get to Augusta. That's a major breakthrough for them. Eugenio Chikara wins on LIV out of OSU, but becomes, let's say, disillusioned and decides he wants a different experience. He doesn't want to play there anymore. It left a sour taste in his mouth. But now Tom McKibben's come and offered an alternative to that perspective. Now, the college players, this has always been the thought, is like they're already ingrained in the college golf ecosystem, the team golf environment. And so they're probably not as attuned to the controversy and the political issues that going to LIV or LIV's continued existence raises. And so I think given McKibben, they're more likely to probably see a pathway, a viable pathway straight out of college to LIV. So will the deterrence efforts by the PGA Tour, by enforcing their policies, and then even adding, to your point, the penalty of being a non-member and not being able to go to 2026 Q school, will that be enough of a deterrence to make it so that, you know, former relegated players and the players that can make it here from Europe and Asia and Australia and the Middle East that really don't move the needle end up back on the tour, or will the AM players and the young players, the promising ones, the guys who have great resumes, who they're really targeting, roll the dice and make it really matter? That's the big question.
I think a great example of that, Mark, I was talking with a player about this, is James Piot, right? James struggled when he went over there. And probably if he went to the promotions event right now, he just missed it first, but he's had he's started to play like a U.S. amateur champion. Like he's developing into like a solid, like if you went there, you would notice like Monday into this, he just finished like, I think top 10 in the last week's Asian Tour event. Like this is a big call for James, right? Like he's going to give up he has America's status for next year. I would guess he's not going, but he is a great example of someone who would definitely go and could be an asset now that he's developed to LIV, right? Like he's the kind of player LIV wants. Maybe not James exactly, but that type of player, young, like is a U.S. Open champ or U.S. amateur champion. Like, and I don't think, I haven't talked to James. I will, but I don't think he's going, because then can't play in America's Tour. If he got a LIV spot back, I don't know this. Again, I haven't asked these questions, but if he was offered a LIV spot, I would assume he'd go back to LIV. But his goal now is to want the chance to get to the top tour here now, and he has America's status. It only makes sense for him to keep that without a guaranteed spot. He already has Asian Tour status wrapped up. He's not in all of the international events, but he has 2 places to play, both of them. And if he won the Asian Tour Order of Merit, he'd be on LIV. If he wins America's Tour top 10, then he's on Korn Ferry and on his way. So that's the kind of player that they're squeezing out by being here, actually, because I would assume he could get a release if it was still in Riyadh and playing.
Or if they just weren't broadcasting it, right?
Yeah.
It seems, to getting back to what we were saying, by undercutting yourself, if you really want the best field, and that is kind of the goal of this, to identify the best players, the best young talent that can show up, the broadcast part of it should be less important than collecting the best field possible.
Yeah, agreed. Mark, do you want to go, or do you want me to go?
No, sure. Let me.
Did you play euchre in New Hampshire?
No, I have no idea what that question is.
Really?
I don't know anything about euchre.
Tweeth, this is a Midwest thing. I don't know how Tweeth started playing, but so this is down the rabbit hole. I had a boss, and I would go play golf with him. We would gamble, and then we would go into the men's room of his club and play very serious euchre. And I would take none of the losses. They were playing significant money. And like, if you paused, Mark doesn't understand euchre, but if you paused and went, you can either pick it up or turn it or pass at the beginning of this game, Mark. And like, if you paused, like, I'm not sure, there would be on the edge of fisticuffs, right? Like, you had to have a rhythm, like no table talk, no nothing. And so his question was, did you order it up with a left and an ace in your hand? Of course you do, Tweet. Yes. If I didn't order it up, my partner would watch me play and then try to choke me out because I didn't order it up. So
It's a niche question and a niche podcast.
yeah.
What players do you think, with only 3 PGA Tour events left, will move inside the top 100 to retain a tour card for 2026?
That's a great question. Here's how I will take it. First, these are players that I think would be good for the tour to be in the top 100. I'll start with Joel Damon. Love Joel. Hope he does. Played solid so far early today in Mexico. Good for the tour. And I think he's super talented. So him, again, on the hopeful part, Justin's had a tough year, but Justin Lauer. And I'm going to go with Hayden Springer, although he struggled today. Got in at the last minute. Hayden has really honestly played well in his limited starts, has made 16 of 20 cuts, has really just had 54 holes that are often very good, and one round that has really hurt some very good finishes. A couple of weeks ago, he was in the, I think, top 5 going into the last round and really struggled. But he's made 16 of 20 cuts or 17 of 21 or something like that with 6 top 25. So he's 127th. Robo, the guy who's the guru who's always on the points, thinks that if you finish in the top 110, you're going to get basically into every event that you would this year. And so that's kind of what I've heard is the number that everybody's kind of looking at. So he's 127th. Justin's 116th, I think. Let's see. Where'd Justin go? Justin is, 113th, and Joel's 112th. So they need to move up a few spots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some great names that are right on the cusp there at that 100 to 110 mark. Hope our buddy Joel Damon, one of the truly good people in golf,
it's true,
moves up.
Yeah. All right, hold on. I got to go back to the questions.
How's the new cat with Wellington?
Oh, yeah. Hey, Bruno.
Ouch.
Hey, Bruno. Ouch.
Yow.
Yowza.
Wellington.
Hey, Bruno, I'm
the
looking
beloved Bassett.
I'm looking out my window. The window here in the office looks right at Wellington's grave. Wellington is dead.
Bruno, I think Bruno's like pretty attuned to Monday Q content as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. He's locked in. Another cards question.
He was out that week.
Another cards question. Cribbage or rummy? Mark, either one of those games you played?
Not really. A little bit of a rummy, but that's it.
Cribbage all the time, Mark. Actually, hold on for Mark, because this is covering the window. This is going to make my face wash out, but hold on.
That's a serious light glare right there. It got worse.
Mark made that. It's pretty sweet. It's a cutting board. It's also
it looks great.
Till we get a shade. It's also my window shade.
Our good friend who's a Notre Dame alum said that color wall is only missing a Notre Dame logo right behind you.
It's true. It's true. Cribbage was played at the Frenches all the time. So for those listening that do not know this, I grew up without a TV. Did not have a television in my house. So a lot of cards was played. A lot of cards. And Howard, my dad, and I played cribbage. Played it in the deer blind, played it all the time. And it's a very special game to me. A lot of good times with old pops playing cribbage. So we played some rummy. I mean, we played cards like crazy. When you don't have a TV, really, and there was no internet, you really gotta work at keeping yourself busy. The Michigan winters get a bit long without a television. So
cards are one of those things like reading. You grew up doing it, and
Yes.
you don't do it anymore. You don't have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. Go ahead. Fire.
What do we have next? Let's go with could the expansion of the Saudi-backed events in the US lead to more cross-tour collaborations, or will it deepen the divide between the PGA and LIV?
I think that the announcement that the LPGA, LET are going to have a co-sanctioned event that's backed by PIF at Shadow Creek means that PIF will own a part or all of the LPGA at some point. I just don't. They already involved in their Aramco events. I don't see. I just think they're going to be a part of it, and I think the announcement of that event is only a matter of time before they have a significant role in women's golf.
I agree. There's going to be growing, call it collaboration for now, maybe potential ownership down the road. It's not an endorsement of it, but it is probably the reality that women's golf would be easier to buy than men's. And I think it's
And it would be more beneficial
for the players, no doubt. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's why it's going to fall, like the critiques of it are going to fall in a lot of deaf ears, is because the players for a long time, there's been a huge delta between what they play for compared to the men.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably something that the players themselves welcome. Most of the, the majority of them. I remember riding to a golf course with maybe one of the original ambassadors for Golf Saudi on the LPGA Tour, and asking her, have you got any pushback on that? Does that bother you? What's the feeling like out there? And she says it helps to pay the bills. They pay way more than any other sponsor, and I've received a lot less criticism than I thought I was going to. So I think it's a little bit surprising that maybe this didn't even happen earlier.
Yeah. I think that they've held out, because I know that PIF has been interested in making headway in women's golf. So yeah, again, the PGA Tour can survive or even thrive without PIF money. They can find their own money. It's harder for the LPGA. So yeah, it's not an endorsement, but I think it would be beneficial to the tour, to the players. And I don't think there would be a ton of pushback. I mean, there was almost none with this announcement. It already has a huge purse now. Like, it's just hard to, I think, forget where the money come from. The money would, I know that's impossible to do, forget where the money came from, but to have any chance for women's golf to find its place where it should be, it needs cash. And so it needs better TV coverage, it needs all the things. And so if this is where it comes from, this is where it comes from, unfortunately.
For now, it's just one event, right? But I think there's the potential for more. I don't want to read too much into it and say, this is in some way a collaboration that's going to happen across the whole course of the season. But it does. I think it's a significant crack in, let's say, the bulwark from Saudi money being in golf with stateside ownership. Because look, we had the framework agreement. How long has it been? 800 some odd days now.
Yeah, 883. Bjorn tweeted it out.
Yeah, right. I saw that tweet. But that was that remains to be seen whether that was actually ever something that was really going to be acted on, or it was a way to buy the PGA Tour time to get their own house in order.
Yeah.
So to actually run an event with a US based tour is a big deal, but it probably won't be covered as such.
Yeah. Byron asks, could we add 2 majors, mainland Europe and Asia Aussie majors? I know it messes with history. Mark, I will give my take. No, I don't think they could, but I think they could go to those places. People have said that often about the PGA. It doesn't have a real identity. Like, it doesn't have a ton of history around certain courses or whatever. Why not go play, you know, in Australia and all those amazing courses? Why not go to places you don't have to go? So no, I don't think there'll ever be more than 1 majors unless in some world there becomes one large world tour. I think that seems to be a pipe dream as divided as golf is currently. But I don't think it's completely out of the question for like the PGA, which doesn't have much of an identity, to go to some crazy places. Like if they went to Australia, I mean, that would be amazing. It would be great for everyone. Australia's a golf crazed country. It'd be great for the PGA because it would make it different. We all shit on the PGA often. And so it would give it something. So I don't think that's happening remotely anytime soon. But if we're going to Europe or Australia for a major, that would be the way, only way, in my opinion.
Well, the national opens are being elevated right now.
Yeah.
Right. There are now pathways into majors for the national opens. And I think in the recent years, the purses have increased a little bit. I mean, Australia, I've played in 1 Australian Open, and it was maybe the most fun I've ever had missing a cut. It's a wild story, actually. I'll give you this quick summary. I showed up without a visa, thinking that I could play. I had been told by the tour that it was acceptable to play without a visa. Now, it was acceptable, except you had to give 51% of your earnings to the government. With a visa, it was like 30 something. It was like low 30%.
Yeah.
And I thought that the problem was, once I got there, I realized this. They were changing the law that month, but it hadn't yet changed. So I had to leave the country to be able to be issued the visa. Had it been a month later, I could have stayed in the country and waited. So I took a flight to New Zealand where I thought that the visa would be approved immediately, but it wasn't. It took a full day. So I slept in a little sushi corner restaurant in Auckland Airport, waiting for the visa to be approved. And the second the visa was approved, I bought a new flight back to Sydney.
You never left the airport, right? If I remember.
Never left the airport. Stayed in the Auckland Airport the whole time. Unfortunately, it's the only time I've ever been to New Zealand, and I really would love to go. So I made it back just in time. I nearly ran into, like, physically Jordan Spieth right when I got there. He was rounding a corner. I was rounding the other corner. Almost bumped into each other. First time I'd ever met him. And then I went on the range, and Sarah this was when Jordan Spieth was like the best player in the world and was, hotter than the Beatles. And Sarah wanted a picture with Jordan Spieth because she, said he was her second favorite golfer.
Yeah.
So she went and got a picture with him. And then I didn't get a chance to play a practice round because I had been waiting.
Because you were sleeping in a sushi restaurant.
Because I was sleeping on a red felted booth in a sushi restaurant in Auckland Airport. So I played the course blind the first day. I think I shot maybe 1 over or 2 over. And I shot 3 under the second day and birdied my last hole. And at the time, it was a morning tee time. I was like comfortably in by maybe 2 or 3 shots in the cut line. And I was getting all these texts from people waking up back home, congratulating me. And then we went to, with one other player who was on the same number I was, we went to Icebergs, which is this famous bar with a pool overlooking Bondi Beach. And we were watching it on TV in the afternoon, just having a couple of celebratory drinks. And it was pretty windy in the morning. And then it looked really calm as we watched on TV. And then guys started making more and more birdies. And then it started getting uncomfortable. And it came down to the last group. And the last player knocked us out. And then we ended up spending the rest of the night there drinking more for a different reason.
Oh, pro golf right there, summed up in one story.
But I mean, Australian Open, who wouldn't love to have
an
Australian golf experience? And the golf is so spectacular.
Yeah, it would be unbelievable. We didn't get many questions. So, Mark, let's talk a little bit about the fact, okay, we're going to have 3 pods a week. We've been doing that, but we're going to try to put them out consistently on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're going to record a little bit differently on this one, so a little bit earlier on Thursday, so we can have it out Friday morning. We're going to do more articles. We get a lot of exciting stuff coming up. It's a good time for Monday Q. Like, we're like running a actual business now. Like, we're trying to. We're like, Mark and I have like actual calls about we have a spreadsheet for guests that are coming on the podcast, which is unheard of in the Monday Q world. Like, we're very flying by the seat of our pants. The fact that we have a spreadsheet for upcoming pods and our plan it's a huge step for us.
Imagine that we add a single spreadsheet and the business starts thriving.
Yeah.
On that note, I will add one shameless plug, which is our pod is now in the top 20 most downloaded golf pods in the country, ranked by Apple. So we don't have currently a sponsor for the pod.
Yes.
And if you'd like to be an advertising partner or collaborator,
amen,
work with us, we would love to have a conversation with you.
100%.
And thank you to all of our listeners who are helping this grow.
Yeah.
And helping this become successful.
Bob Herrig and I were talking before we got on, and he said, "Hey man, love you." And he just like casually brought up that we were talking about the Mac Barnhart pod, and it hit me like after we just had a conversation about Mac, and again, Bob's been in the game for a long time, and Mac's been in the game for a long time, so they know each other, and it hit me at the end. Like, Bob Herrig is like a well-known name in golf journalism, and he listens to our pod. That's crazy. Like, even if that was the only one he listened to, it was like, wow. And so thank you to everyone for listening. It's growing. I love doing these. We're more organized. We have a guest that will piss off people because of his regaining amateur status. Obviously, everybody knows who that is. We have James Nitty's coming up. He does broadcasting for Corn Ferry. A bunch of exciting pods. And we appreciate everybody listening.
Yeah. Well, do you have any further topics that you would like to cover today? Or is there anything relevant? Or
Let me think.
I know that you need to go pick up Annie here soon.
Yeah, I have to drop her off at swimming. Bruno, thank you for bringing up my dead dog.
Yeah, the really
Tweeth, we can play euchre at some point at the next Drive for the Future event. Internet. What's it called? The Internet Invitational. Like, this is the first YouTube event that I have ever watched.
Okay.
It really brings up that I think with real pros, this could be a thing. I mean, it's taken over. They perfectly timed it because there's not really anything going on in golf right now. And then Luke Kwan was probably the best thing that ever happened to the Internet Invitational, even though he was eliminated immediately. Not him, it's a team aspect. But Mark, have you watched it?
No, but however, I did see that the Asian Tour posted a meme that Luke Kwan made his tee time in the first round, which I thought was pretty funny.
It's pretty great. It is pretty great.
I did watch. I know neither you or I are huge YouTube golf watchers, but late last night I did watch Taco Golf, which I've never watched before. I don't know if it's multiple people, but someone who's got a beautiful golf swing, great action, plays a Norwegian golf course at midnight. And this course is stunning, like surrounded by mountains on a bay. It's just him out there. There's nothing else. And
how great would that be? Let's have the Monday Q Invitational there, the Europe version of the Monday Q.
That will be the major that people are pining for.
Tune in for. Man, that would be unbelievable.
But here's the unique part of it. This video didn't have a single word spoken. There was no conversation. There was no dialogue. It was just the guy playing on this remote,
it's like ASMR,
beautiful golf course.
Yeah.
with some kind of meditative music. It was the absolute perfect thing to watch before bed.
Man, that's great. Yeah, that's it. That's today's date. Mexico Open. Nick Dunlap. Oh, here's a stat for you. We'll end with this. Nick Dunlap has struggled with the driver yips, hence the 90 at the Masters. The Mexico, wherever they play this event, is so wide open that Nick Dunlap, who hits 48% of his fairways during the season, which ranks him 173rd, has to be near last for the players that qualify, hit 100% of his fairways today and shot 11 under. That is wild. The fairways must be very wide.
Yeah. Well, nice to have some variety in there.
Yeah. That's it, Mark. Nothing else. I got nothing else.
All right.
That's it.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this golf marriage with cards podcast.
Yep.
And
maybe that's what we get.
Until next
we
time.
Spring into the card game. There can't be too many
card
cards.
qualifiers.
Yeah. All right, everybody. See you on Monday.
Have a good weekend, everybody.